Welcome to What's in the Box, episodes of horror with Donna and Eric. I'm Donna.
And I'm Eric.
And today we are talking about The Silence of the Lambs. We're going to talk about the book and the movie because we actually got a chance to sit down and have movie night and watch the movie together, which was kind of nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it
And
was
I was
fun.
shocked that you hadn't seen it.
I had seen it, but like maybe one time and like in the 90s, maybe.
Yeah,
So it had been quite a while since I had seen the movie, and I had never read the book before.
that's also surprising
Yeah. Um,
because that was like Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code in the early 90s. Everybody seemed to have read Silence. And even though we were young, I remember reading it when it first came out. So,
yeah, no, I hadn't read it. I haven't read the Da Vinci Code either, so
well, I guess tune in for our next episode where we talk about the Da Vinci Code. No, Da Vinci Code would be right up your alley though, because I know you like James Rollins and all that stuff, and
yeah,
it's kind of that same vibe. It's well thought, it's well researched, for lack of a better, and I don't mean this in a bad way. It's kind of bubblegum. It's popcorn movie-esque. It's a fun, it's a good read though. I mean, it's interesting. Although I prefer Angels and Demons to um, Da Vinci Code. Which I'm not sure I would say I prefer Red Dragon to Silence, but both of those are the prequels leading into the next, to the big hit.
yeah, yeah. So
So
I immediately, after finishing Silence, I immediately grabbed Red Dragon for my Kindle because I'm like, I have to say, Silence of the Lamb is going to be like one of the top reads of the year for me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been a long time since I've read it. Um, but yeah, I've seen the movie multiple times over the last couple of years, and both of them are it's like Jaws. They're both very good, except for the movie and the book are actually kind of one and the same for
Yeah,
Silence.
yeah.
But this was an adaptation that was done very well.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of annoyed me about the book was Clarice's inner monologues. They seemed very juvenile and not so much towards the like middle to ending of the book, but like the beginning of the book. Her like inner thoughts in the book were like, I don't know, they just seem way too juvenile. And I know she was a young, FBI agent in training, but you've got to be at least, I don't even know how old you'd have to be to start FBI training, probably mid-20s, I would think, because you'd have to
Well,
go through
she
college first.
Yeah, and I think technically law school.
Yeah.
So yeah, she should be a little bit older, but as we learn, she's an excellent student, so she may have skipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, I think he was just trying to show us her vulnerability and her inexperience with some certain things, and also her need for a not maybe a father figure, but
An authority figure,
an
at
authority
least.
figure that she had to, that she places her trust in and stuff and kind of follows their lead. So,
Yeah, and
um,
maybe a little bit trying to show her like I'll call him humble background.
yeah, yeah. So he does all that to kind of show us by the end the growth of the character, because by the end she's pretty much telling them what she wants to do, and she's kind of doing her own thing, which you don't really get in the movie as much as you do in the book.
Yeah, in the book, in the movie, she's definitely a more rounded out character from the beginning.
Yeah, she's got a little oh, I don't know, moxie.
Yeah,
Right. So she's not just I mean she's not on par with the characters that she's around, but I don't know. They kind of try and did that because we watched Hannibal as well. And in both movies they tried to put her on the same level as Hannibal when really she's not.
yeah,
So he took a shine to her, but other than that, I mean if you really wanted to play, which you'll see in Red Dragon, I guess, a little bit. Although not really, because Red Dragon's kind of Silence of the Lambs. But if you watch the TV show, you definitely want to do that. Watch the
Yeah.
TV show.
Yeah,
Really get that.
I was talking to someone, and they're like, "Oh, you definitely need to read the books before you watch Hannibal," because I was going to start that this weekend, and I'm like, "Oh, well, guess I'll have to put that on pause." And you had told me to read the book before watching Red Dragon.
Yeah, I think you definitely would rather read it first
Yeah.
because, like Silence, they are similar. I mean, they do. It's basically one of the few times where they just kind of took the blueprint and went with it. They don't screw around with it. And of
Yeah, I thought,
course, like I said, Manhunter, it's a little different, but really it's the same thing. And it's based off Red Dragon, and it's got a different guy playing Hannibal Lecter. And the only reason they made Red Dragon the movie was so they could get another Anthony Hopkins Hannibal Lecter movie
yeah,
out there. So I would say just watch Red Dragon so that you have the continuity, but you need to see Manhunter at some time because it's actually a fantastic movie. So
yeah. I thought they did really well, um, adapting the book to the movie.
yeah,
Um,
there's a few things I didn't like, especially because I was still uh, like 100 pages from being finished. So I was kind of dead smack in the middle. And so then I thought, oh, I can see what they're doing here, or I hope they do this. And then I get back in the book and I thought, oh, they totally did it a different way. Um, but for the most part, you're right. Totally. I mean, it's A to Z, and
yeah.
they kind of a couple of little zigzags, but really overall, it's all the same.
Yeah, I found it interesting that in the book, Hannibal has maroon eyes and six fingers on one hand.
Yeah, they gave him that. That was, something kind of unique, and that stands out. For a while, for some reason, that seemed to be in the 90s. A lot of that was like a point of some sort of trying to think how to. It was like it was some sort of like if you had six fingers, it meant something. Like it was some sort of like gypsy thing, or
Yeah,
just some sort of extra thing like that person would be considered exceptional because of this extra thing, some sort of like myth or um, urban legend kind of stuff. But for some reason in the 90s, I remember more and more things like that popping up,
yeah.
characters with six fingers and stuff like that. Um,
And now I'm gonna have to look into that because that's kind of interesting.
I have to be honest, I'm glad they didn't do it in the movie because that would have just looked weird and I don't think it would have played well. And he didn't use it in the book for any reason.
Yeah,
I can't remember him using like hiding anything with it or because he had six fingers, he was more dexterous or whatever.
yeah, or able
Um,
to slip out of the handcuffs easier.
yeah,
Um,
which you think would be harder because you got an extra digit, but you never know.
yeah.
But the movie came out in what, 91? When was the book written? 80s, 88, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised because when I was reading it, I looked back at the
Yeah.
copyright page and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it had been written that long ago.
Yeah, 88. And so then that's perfectly lined up for a movie like that to come out 3 years
Yeah.
later. And by the time the movie came out, I think everybody had read the book pretty much. And so it was one of those ones where they kind of felt like they had an instant success story, even though traditionally this could be considered a horror novel, and you wouldn't
Yeah, oh
think
yeah,
that.
for sure. The whole Buffalo Bill thing, like
Yeah.
skinning women and making outfits from them
And
and
what's funny is I never considered this a horror novel growing up. I read
no?
this, yeah, in 88 it came out, so I would have been what, probably 12 or 13.
Yep.
This was like a procedural, like all of them, and it would just fall into those kind of books that I like to read on top
Yeah.
of the other stuff, the horror and all that. So in my mind, it was more about Clarice and trying to catch a killer, and of course,
Yeah.
the killer does horrific things, but it's just a killer kind of situation.
Yeah, and that part of it, the James Gum Buffalo Bill part of it, like his actual appearances in the book and in the movie, honestly, are very minuscule.
Yeah,
So it is I'll say 90% you know, thriller, mystery, police procedural type book. But then you've got that little bit when they, go into James Gum. Um, you do get that. I wish in both the book, probably more in the book, I wish there would have been more explanation about the moths. Like why does he have these moths? Because
Oh,
the whole big thing about is the death head moth, right? And yes, he has them, but it doesn't really explain like is it just a fascination for him with
yeah,
these
it has
moths?
something to do with the guy that he was dating. It's in the end here. No, I was trying to think of where it was. Yeah, it says something. It's when he was going after that Raspale guy. And remember,
Yeah,
um, he starts dating him, and because of him, he starts getting fascinated with the myths. Um, Here it
yeah,
is. Right?
maybe.
Yeah, it just says um, he was working at the curio store where the butterfly ornaments were made when he met Raspale, and he lived off the musician for some time. It was then that Gum became obsessed with moths and butterflies and the
Okay.
changes they go through. Now, it's okay, and the reason is the curio store, and they mentioned that a little bit earlier. Um, I think it's in this earlier page here. He works at a curio store that sells these like crazy moth and butterfly decorations.
Okay.
It's after he kills his grandparents and goes to the rehabilitation place, and that's where he learns to sew, and
Yeah.
that's so he can actually do the thing. Um, let's see. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the curio store where the butterfly ornaments were made. So those butterfly ornaments, and then he connects it with the
Raspel.
Raspale guy, and Raspale is the lover he has that when he gets jilted, he kills that guy, and then he um, stuffs the moth into his mouth. And I
Yeah,
think that probably
Klaus.
set him going. That probably started. But then at that point in his mind, he starts thinking he wants to become a woman. So then the butterfly represents the
Metamorphosis.
transformation. And then you have to look at it. He doesn't seem to be a butterfly person, so it has to be a moth. And the moths seem a little more, I don't want to say, well, they're kind of the ones they're using are probably much more striking,
Yeah.
and the change is much more drastic. So it's a very apt metaphor to have throughout the the book, and then also to have the moth be the thing that kind of betrays him.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we don't have any of it does tie everything together.
Yeah. I like the my favorite scene of the whole book is the Hannibal escape scene. Like where he
Yeah,
has the pen thing in his gum. Like, ow, that must have really hurt. And then he gets it out so he can um pick the handcuffs.
yeah, and then they do a decent job of that in the movie though, but it's because the doctor left the pen behind,
Yeah.
and so it's almost the whole pen that he has.
Yeah.
And so they're a little, I don't want to say lazy. He goes step by step on how he hides it, what he needs in the book. In the movie, we get the scene of the pen gone, and then later he gets out. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was a whole thing like going back to how he like got this thing and he chiseled it down and then he like made a tube and then he hid it in his gums and
yeah, it's very, and that's the cool thing about Harris. It's another one of those writers that does a lot of research or has somebody do a lot of research, it seems. And he really knows how to weave it, him and Crichton and um, Brown and Rollins even because Rollins does a lot of stuff. But those are the ones that really can make something that should be kind of mundane and boring and makes me think back to The Exorcist. And as much as I love him as a writer too, some of that stuff read like a medical journal and it was
hmm
boring. But in the hands of some of these other authors, they turn it into something that can be quite fascinating and
Yeah.
doesn't feel like you're being taught anything. You're just absorbing the information as you read it.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, Lecter shines in this book. I don't. He doesn't play as big a part, I don't think, in the first in Red Dragon. Um, but he does. He really does take center stage in this one. I will tell you one thing I didn't like about this. Maybe not didn't like is the right word, but when we get to go into his brain, because the problem is we get the inner monologue of Lecter too, and so when
Right.
he basically tells us, he knew the guy's name, he knew exactly who it was that was doing the killings, and I liked it better in the movie when he's a little more, you know, ambiguous about everything,
Yeah.
and it seems like, I mean, of course he had to have known because he tells her the same line in both.
Yeah. Yeah,
Everything's in
Lecter
everything's
Lecter
in the
to me,
file.
yeah, Lecter to me is a hard character to hate.
Very charming.
You're supposed to hate him because he's this person, he like eats people and he kills people. Um, but he's a very hard person to hate. He's fascinating, he's intelligent, he's you know, seemingly sane,
Mhm.
very coherent and you know, it's hard for me to hate him as a
Yeah,
character.
he is. What's funny is that he is like the mere opposite of Dr. Chilton.
Yes, I
And
hate
and
children.
Chilton
Yes.
is the most unlikable person in the whole book,
Yep.
and yet it should be Lecter, but it's the
Yep.
guy that has him captive that we all hate and hope that gets his, at the end, you hope he gets what happens.
Yeah, in the
So,
book when they're bringing him to Nashville and Barney is like, just let me go with him. And Chilton's like, no, no, no. I'm like, oh, that's a bad move.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you're
that's
gonna
also
regret
funny.
that.
It's funny how that relationship with Barney, and we get a little bit of that in Hannibal when we watch the next movie. You see that he had collected some of these things, and he had had long discussions with Hannibal, and there was a little bit of a connection. Another person that Hannibal seemed to at least appreciate, if not downright like. Um, so yeah, you could tell when those kinds of characters are abused by Chilton, that it goes on Hannibal's ledger, you
Hmm.
know, affronts to him, even if it is done to somebody else. So
Yep. Yeah, and
I
I
think,
also didn't like the last victim, Catherine's mother. Um, she's just
yeah, we weren't, I think we weren't supposed to, um, I don't think we were supposed to like her just because of the way I mean, she has to be like this combative personality because she's a senator and a junior senator at that. So she's always fighting within the thing, but also she's a mother fighting for a child. But I think in a way she abuses her power, which is the whole point, I guess. She has the power to do it, so she abuses it to get what she needs to try and find her daughter. But Lecter just manipulates the whole situation to get what he wants. And
yeah.
if she would have been, I don't know, and it's hard to falter, if you have the way to save your child through your job or your personality in that manner, it's hard to think that you wouldn't do it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't judge
um,
her.
yeah, but she is also, for lack of a better term, kind of bitchy.
Hmm.
And you get why she would be, but she really mishandled everything. And she was so dismissive of Crawford and when he was trying to explain what would happen when she dealt with Hannibal, and then to have her lean into and believe Dr. Chilton over the other people, um, kind of shows you her desperation and that she wasn't thinking clearly. Because
Yeah.
obviously she disliked Chilton almost immediately. It's in the book. She's talking about, when he's out there trying to get her attention when she's on the phone. He's doing all these things that makes her uncomfortable or makes her doubt that this was the right choice, but she continues on with it. So
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about, I think, this story, this book, is the characters all have these wonderful dimensions to them. The only one that doesn't really have much of a dimension to her is her room, Clarice's roommate,
Yeah.
which I find in the book she really offers nothing other than
Yeah.
a little bit of cheerleading to get Clarice going. In the movie, they give her a much larger role, and she actually like thinks of some of the answers that are credited to Clarice in the books, or even Crawford, I guess, or
Yeah.
some of the other people. So I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting in the movie that they would expand it a little bit, especially because they pulled back on so many other aspects of the. There were a few things that they kind of hurried along, and a few things that I felt like they blurred the lines because isn't it Catherine in the book that has the nude pictures, the
Yes.
sexual pictures, and they really don't mean anything. They don't tie into Buffalo Bill at all. But then in the movie, it's the
Frederica.
yeah, it's the first victim, and
Yeah.
it ties in. Um, it's like a main point. It's you know, Buffalo Bill connected with her in a way that nobody ever had,
Yeah.
and gave her, saw her for her. Unfortunately, he saw her because he wanted her skin, not because he saw her as a person that he wanted to be with. But if you take the stuff in the book and the way the relationship is talked about and the letters they sent each other and the way that she wrote about him being like a secret, almost a secret lover or something, even though I don't think it got that far. Um, and then you take that with those pictures in the movie, if you put those two together, that's way stronger than the way they have it separate in this thing. So,
Yeah.
um, I didn't like the pictures with Catherine. It didn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's not important. I mean, at the very least, are we trying to make
And the
Catherine like
also the
Catherine deserves it?
LSD, the LSD that they found in
Yeah,
Catherine's apartment, the Pluto papers or whatever they called
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah, obviously Catherine is rebelling against her mother, but I don't see how any of that ties into her being a victim to Buffalo Bill. Although maybe they're just throwing in a red herring just to kind of
Yeah.
give us that, but it doesn't amount to anything, and it doesn't really mean anything or make us think differently one way or the other about Catherine. Now, maybe in '88 it does. Maybe in '88 we think, oh, it's one of those things where she deserved it or whatever kind of situations. But
Hmm.
I don't know how you could ever think about that with any kind of person. I don't know if anybody deserves to be held in a well at the bottom of a house and then skinned. So,
Yeah.
um,
And I remember getting so annoyed at in the book where they were talking about, oh, where can they buy the fat clothes? And size 14 is a big gal. And I'm like, okay.
well, but it was in the '80s. That's
Yeah,
exactly
no,
it. And
I
there
know.
were so many of those stores,
Yep.
that focused on large-sized women and stuff, and that's all
Yep.
they held. So that was that weird time though in the mid to late '80s where we had that really big craze with the Jazzercise and
Hmm.
Richard, what's his name?
Simmons, yeah.
Richard Simmons and all that, and the
Sweating to the
really
oldies.
and the weird diet phases that they still go on today, but it was the beginning of, it felt like, throughout the whole '80s, it seemed like it was
Yeah.
an attempt to get people to lose weight in these weird ways and stuff. And that, yeah, but they definitely had the fat shops and all that stuff. So
Yeah. And I guess it kind of made sense because Buffalo Bill was looking for larger women because he's a large man and he needed a skin that fit.
yeah.
So I get it. It was just like, all right.
Yeah, I mean they're not restricted by today's language.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's definitely has the feel of an '80s thing. And the
yeah.
movie does too. The movie does feel, although it stands up today still, it's still a great
Oh
movie.
yeah, for
But
sure.
it definitely has that vibe of late '80s, early '90s, just when they go to the different towns and some of the things they deal with. Um,
Yeah. As I'm
it's,
reading too, I'm like, when it gets towards the end, I hadn't read it before, so I'm like, they're going after this Grant guy, this other house in Calumet. And she's like in Frederica's hometown and she goes to visit the Lipman house and they're like going on, simultaneously. And I had no idea that it was going to turn out to be, Buffalo Bill killed the Lipman lady and she's in the bathtub,
yeah.
um, just hanging out in the soup.
which is kind of creepy, and they do a good job of that in the movie too. Although it works a little better in the movie because they have the film going, so you're
Yep.
expecting that door to break open, and it's just swinging open to show us Clarice instead of showing us the SWAT team going in. I did think it was odd in the movie that he immediately thinks Clarice is in trouble. When they go to do
Yeah.
the SWAT stuff and she's just in some random town
Yeah.
asking questions, basically finishing up. And in the movie, he immediately says her name, like, "Oh my God, we need to get to Ohio," or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was going to be something. Um, the other thing I thought was funny was I thought it was a good casting until I finished the book, and then I'm not so sure they cast Crawford correctly. But for the most part, I thought they did a really good job casting all these people.
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
it
One
right.
thing I liked in both the book and the movie was the scene where the lights are out and he's got the night vision goggles. In the book, even though it's not visual for you, I thought Harris did a great job describing Clarice's state of mind in that situation.
And more importantly, he described why he did it. Like he was chasing. I mean, he goes through a whole section of of him hunting down the girls initially, but then deciding that wasn't the best way to do it because he was ruining the skin. But
Yeah.
he was enjoying the cat and mouse game of being able to watch them
Yeah.
try to get away and then killing them. You have no reason to, it's like, why is he doing it in the movie? He just does it.
Yeah.
Other than then he thought, it'd be easy for him to take care of her. And it would have been if he didn't dick around. If he would have just shot her, it would have been fine. But no, he's got to try and touch her and all that other stuff and start
Yeah.
playing mind games with her. Also, in the book, it does a good job of letting us know that he is thinking of replacing the hair from Clarice. He wants her hair, and that's why he
Yeah.
isn't trying to dispatch her immediately. We have no reason to know that in the movie. So it
Yeah.
really does have this weird, what is this crazy person doing at the end, even though it's a cool aesthetic with
Yeah.
because of course at that time, I think we'd only seen those maybe once or twice in some of the sniper movies or maybe Navy SEALs if that had come out. I think that came out in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Um,
And Jodie
so
Foster did a great job. Like I'm curious if that scene she was actually in the dark, like
right,
when they were
right.
filming it.
Yeah, no, she definitely stamped um, her way to the pantheon of great actors in that role. Even though she'd already done it with what Taxi Driver and a couple other odds and ends, but that role right there, I think that was the one that cemented her on that, her being a great actress. In fact, so much so that it's like she didn't really need to do anything after that. She did what Contact, maybe one or two other little films, but you don't really see her doing much other than directing, I think,
Yeah, I
now.
think it was what was yeah, the only other movie I remember her being in is the one about she was attacked by those guys on the in the
Yeah. Safe House, Safe Room, something like
uh,
that.
yeah, I
It
don't
was a
remember.
Fincher movie, and it's her and her daughter, and they get in the safe room, and those guys are trying to find some money or
Oh,
something.
Safe Room. Yeah, that one, but the one where she was raped on the pool table in the
Oh,
bar.
yeah, 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 yeah. Did that come out before or after?
I don't know. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's like the one of the most unsettling movies you'll ever watch.
Yeah.
Where she's raped in public by a room full of people, in front of a room full of people, and they all just basically try to ignore it and make it seem like she had, you know,
Yeah.
like if that was a case of us going back to the gets what she deserves because of the situation or her, the way she was viewed in that. What was that movie
Yeah.
called? Because it was her and another famous lady that's her lawyer, and I want to say it was based on a real case, but probably that would be horrific too. So,
What was the name of that?
um,
Yeah, Panic Room was good.
what's that called? I want to
Was
say
it
that came out before
was that The
Silence.
Accused?
The Accused. No, was
Yeah.
that it? Yeah, that was it. That came out in
Yep.
what, 89 maybe?
88. Yeah.
88. Okay, so it came out when this one was written, and then that was kind of her like, you know, like here I am doing like her Charlene Theron monster, where they kind of do that uncomfortable movie where they throw
Yeah.
themselves out there and kind of get on the Oscar stuff.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about Panic Room. I had seen it, but like once and probably back when it first came out on video.
It feels like that one was like 93, 94. I want to say it was Fincher's. Wasn't it a Fincher movie right after Seven?
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
so.
another one of those. And after that, and am I wrong? Is Kristen Stewart her daughter in that one? I think that's as we just sit
Oops.
here and play games of let's guess all this stuff.
Yeah, let's
Um,
see.
I'm pretty sure.
IMDb.
Yeah, that's
Oh, it was 2002.
okay.
Kristen Stewart. Yep.
Which makes more sense for Kristen Stewart to be her daughter if it was
Oh wow,
2000.
I didn't. So
It's a
Forrest
huge
Whitaker.
cast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker, Jared Leto, Dwight Yoakam was in it. Um, wow.
Stay tuned for our episode of Panic Room.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no. And then after that, she just kind of, I mean, she did odds. I remember her doing Contact, but I don't remember. In fact, Contact probably was 97, 96 to 98, maybe. And that, that's one where she questions like religion and math and stuff um, with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I think she did. She was a good choice for Clarice, I think. Just be
100%.
she definitely gave the vibe of the country girl, whereas because we watched Hannibal too, Julianne Moore didn't.
She couldn't hit the accent to save her
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And it sounded like a person doing an accent where um, I'm blanking on Foster sounded like somebody from West Virginia.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I can't stand Julianne Moore.
Yes, yes.
So I wouldn't be able to say anything nice anyways. Except for she's fine in Evolution. For some reason, in Evolution she doesn't bother me at all. But every other movie she just drives me insane.
Yeah. So
Um,
we have a bunch of cool covers that you sent for
yeah,
the
but
book.
the funny thing is they all have some sort of butterfly or moth kind of theme to
Yep.
them, which I was like, huh. This one I thought was really cool. It's one of those ones that opens up. So it's like a hand above the butterfly, like reaching out to
Yeah,
grab
okay.
it or something. But I was like, this is maybe the first one or the second one, like after it really started getting big. But it was an early
This
one.
is
But
a
I,
really cool.
yes, because obviously it comes out after the movie, but it looks like they, like some sort of limited edition, maybe,
Yeah. Film classic. So,
which I'm like, that might be fun to chase down and check it out.
yeah.
Which you obviously can see Hopkins and Foster.
Yep. And this is the when I
That's
think of Silence of the Lambs, this is the
yeah.
cover that I think of.
Which I don't think it was the movie cover. I think the movie cover was just her face with the moth on it over her mouth,
Mm,
but it definitely has movie cover vibe to it. It's the one I have,
okay.
but and what's funny is Clive Barker does the blurb on the back, and
Oh,
so I'm like, yeah, tell me it's horror without telling me it's horror, you know.
yeah.
Um, there's no other reason to have him do this really, and I thought that was pretty fun. And then it's just that funny thing that we always talk about, how everything is horror, but people don't want to say they read horror. So this is a thriller, or
Yeah.
this is, whatever, suspenseful. But I
Yep.
mean, like right here, you can see a spine-tingling, vastly entertaining crime story by a master of suspense, ingeniously macabre. It's like, say
Yep.
horror without saying horror. This all screams horror. And I
Yep.
think that's really fun that we can watch, um, that we can see how they disguise all these things. And it's also kind of interesting to watch how today all these movies that are specifically horror that we call horror are starting to be like mainstream, where we can kind of see people embracing it and not feeling as
Yep.
skittish about it. But then again, we also can go to these book events and we can watch people that write horror that will tell you dead to your face that it's not horror, that it's whatever they want to call it.
Yep.
And because they don't want to be pigeonholed into thinking that they write whatever it is they think horror is going to be seen as.
Hmm.
But I mean, in honesty, horror is just everyday life. Everything is horrific. It's just a matter of how you approach it and deal with it. But
Yep.
that's a cool cover, and
Yep.
I think it might be like Britain's version or something because it says international bestseller for some reason. And I love that they got Hannibal Lecter's back on the thing, which is a tip, because he was in Red Dragon.
Yep.
So, but obviously must have been maybe after the movie, just because Hannibal Lecter. It's not like he was a literary character until the movie really came out and made him something.
Yeah, this is a cool cover too.
Yeah, well, the moth is so cool. It's just kind of fun to see everybody's interpretation of it,
Yeah.
and the fact that they didn't just slap Jodie Foster's face on everything or Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
They really could have gone crazy with that. This is a funny one too because it's the number one bestseller from the author of Hannibal, which is the book
Which came
after
out
this.
after. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just gonna
so
say that.
obviously this is another one of those, where we have to go
Reprints.
through
Yeah.
and put a new cover on it to spice everything up.
Yeah. This is the cover that I had because I had the ebook, the Kindle book. So I thought this
Which
was
is a very cool cover.
kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's definitely
Um,
creepy.
yeah.
Um, and and it's weird though, because it's Anthony Hopkins, but it kind of doesn't look like Anthony Hopkins, so
Yeah.
it's kind of weird, little off right there. But overall, yeah, no, I mean, and I'm not when I said that slapping Anthony, it just seems like that would be the easy way to get done because he's so iconic. Although I assume you'd have to pay him every time you put him on your cover, so that's
I
probably
was
why
just
everybody,
thinking that. I'm like, how much money does he get for these covers?
yeah.
Like,
So, but it's funny that he decided to lean into it. Hannibal comes out 10 years, 20 years later, maybe. So if the movie comes out in 91, yeah, I want to say it was probably close to 15, 20 years before they released Hannibal. And that's why Jodie Foster, I think, didn't want to do it. And they recast her, which in my mind was the wrong thing to do. I think you just don't make the movie, but Anthony Hopkins does that one, and then they go back to do Red Dragon. It's like he saw a cash cow. He knows what he's doing. I mean,
mhm.
he's probably a fun character to play too. So,
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Can you imagine being in the mind of Hannibal Lecter?
and he got to be like front and center for Hannibal. I mean, it is a
Yeah.
lot more because we really don't see him as much in Silence of the Lambs. He's in it. There's everything he's in is very powerful, but he's really not in
Yeah.
every section. So for him to get a whole movie of him running around on the loose, it's kind of fun. I
This was,
liked this one a lot.
yeah.
It feels like something that might have come. I could see Don Noble doing this,
Hmm.
a cover like this. So it just made me think of indie horror.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this one.
And obviously Tom Harris is bigger than in that cover than
Yeah.
the name of the thing. That's a really cool one too. But again, you can tell all the ones that are after the movie because
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter's front and center.
Yeah.
And I love how we do that. Hannibal Lecter is back. So if you only knew Silence of the Lambs, now you're gonna be like, what do you mean back?
Yeah,
Now
where
I
did
got
he
to go
go?
find the other book. So then they go find Red Dragon, and then they get to experience that one because the killer in Red Dragon is really creepy, and the situation. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's really done so well. And
Yeah.
the FBI agent chasing him isn't, and that's the other cool thing he did because the FBI agent chasing him is he's more experienced, and so you get that juxtaposition of that guy versus Jodie Foster's character being so green,
Yeah.
and kind of being almost, I don't want to say led astray, but she was really dangled. And maybe Crawford wasn't meaning to do it, but it does feel like he had an inkling that he'd get some Buffalo Bill information out of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense to send anybody.
Yeah.
I thought this was a cool cover too.
Yeah, this gives me like book club edition,
Hmm. Yeah,
hard, the hardback.
yeah, like a hardcover or something. Yeah.
Hmm. But it's definitely, if I was walking by and I had no idea what it was about, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. I think I need to read that.
Yeah, you might be like, "Oh, is this Mothman?"
Yeah.
with that in the back, but I thought it was a fun cover. And then we get to the casting, and I thought they did a really, really good job. Um, except for
Yeah.
Crawford. I really like Crawford initially, but then as you read the book, and they almost try to give you this weird, um, instead of it being like a mentor mentee kind of situation, which is how they introduce it,
Hmm.
they turn it into this weird sexual thing
Yeah.
where, and not even that, almost a relationship of, like, you know, like she's going to marry him and they're going to settle down, that kind of vibe.
But she
And
ends
some
up
of
with
her,
the bug guy at the
yeah.
end, though.
Well, and that's another thing we should talk about. I should have got the picture of that guy because in the book he's a normal dude. He's just a scientist that likes bugs. They got the weirdest dude to play him. One eye going one way, the other eye, and nothing about it would be like, oh, she's going to be interested. And I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just like they could have
Yeah.
just slapped any normal guy there and it would have been fine. But they just like, no, let's get somebody that really stands out, that
Yeah.
looks like a bug lover. So
Yeah.
like they were trying to like punk us on that. And so I was like, man, that doesn't line up at all. So it was kind of cool though that she ended up with the bug guy in the
Yeah.
book, like a regular relationship kind of thing. But yeah, no, I thought that Clarice Crawford, and for some reason, even though we've seen um, Scott Glenn in a more physical manifestation in the Keep, where he is,
Yeah, I was
scoring
just
with
gonna
that
say,
lady.
he's always the guy from the Keep for me.
Right, but I just don't see him in this movie at that age being the guy that's going to hook up with Clarice. It just doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. It's more of a mentor thing in that.
Yeah.
But we also don't hear one iota about his wife in the movie.
The movie. Yeah.
And so there we don't see the pressure he's under and the fact that he might have already closed his mind off to, well, she's gone or she will be gone soon, and he's on to, what am I going to do next kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although at the end, even though they hinted at that, at the end, you can see he still loves his wife and was very upset when she passes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm just glad they didn't force that because that would have been the easy way to do it. And I think it
Yeah.
would have been gross, you know. So, but I just, as we were watching it, I'm like, well, he just didn't fit. He did initially, but as I was going through the book and as we were watching it, I thought, man, maybe that was a miscast.
Yeah.
But at the time, he was still a really big actor. He did Backdraft, and there's a whole bunch of stuff he did in the late 80s, early 90s that had him still kind of front and center. Barney was perfectly cast.
Yep.
Catherine was really good. I mean, she's only got a few lines, but
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you like, we didn't talk about this after after we watched the movie, but there's another show about Clarice that came on like ABC. So
Oh.
there's Hannibal that gives you Hannibal, but there's a Clarice show. Takes place like 6 months after she kills Buffalo Bill. So she's an agent, but she's like a junior agent. And it's like the intricacies of the FBI and how her and her roommate are trying to move up, and get different opportunities. And she's put on a special task force and she's dealing with all of the trauma from being trapped in the basement and hunted by Bill for that short period of time.
Let's see what that
It is
is.
called, I'm pretty sure it's called Clarice. And I want to say there was one season, although there might have been two. But we watched that. It was really good. I mean, it was good. Yeah, and the kid that got to be
Yep.
Clarice was really good. She
Yep.
she
It's
she
called
played good.
Clarice. Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
from
wish they would have kept going. It was a very interesting idea. And she had another one of those situations where she kind of had this weird relationship with a superior. And it was
oh,
kind of combative, but it was a good show, and it fleshed out the character. You get to know more about Clarice.
yeah. They also have Catherine Martin is in it.
Trying to think of which part she
She
had.
was yeah. She was no Catherine.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
They have a character named
And
Catherine.
that's the whole reason it came into my head. I was staring at Catherine, and I was going to say, if you want to know more about what happens to Catherine after she gets saved,
Yep.
that's what the whole show's about. It's about Clarice and Catherine and how they're dealing with it. And so you kind of get to see how they're both victims in a way, even though
Yeah.
Clarice is the one that ended everything and saved everybody. But she's dealing with it just as much as Catherine is. But yeah, definitely worth watching. I'd say everything they've done has been worth watching except for Hannibal. And even, I mean, that's fine with Hopkins stuff. It's just that Julianne Moore is terrible. So, but I did love that in Hannibal they brought Barney back, the same cat guy.
Yep.
Um, and in the book we were told that Crawford was about to retire. He had to retire in 6 months anyway, so it makes sense that he wouldn't be in the Hannibal movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but you know, I thought, here's the good guys, quote unquote. Here are the good guys. These characters are important. Here are the bad
The
guys,
bad guys. Yep.
and all of them are terrible in their own way.
Yeah.
And so, but I think it's funny that in his mind, Chilton is the hero of the story.
Yeah.
But I loved this is why the book is because I mean he's a dirtbag in the show and you can immediately dislike him. The actor's really good, but in the book you get a few subtle nods where you get to see his missteps pointed out by the
Mm.
other characters and stuff, and so you get to know for sure that he is um, just a complete total waste of space.
Yeah. I love the ending of Hannibal where he's like, I'm going to have dinner with an old friend.
Yes, which they don't really. He sends a letter to him in police custody in the book. He sends him a letter saying, I'll see you soon or something like that. But I think it's more effective when he does that in the movie, on the
Yeah.
phone when he talks to her and stuff. And the guy that plays Buffalo Bill is really good. He's
Yeah.
the boss from Monk. And it's funny to watch him play the cop there, but play the serial killer in this one. And everything I've seen him in, he does a really good job. But his transformation into Buffalo Bill is just fascinating to watch.
Buffalo Bill, played by Simon Northwood. Okay, so Simon Northwood is in. Oh no, Buffalo Bill actor. Okay, so it is Simon Northwood. Oh no, no. Ted Levine played
Ted
Jane Gum
Levine, yeah.
in.
I was like, the
Okay.
name doesn't sound right, but you're looking at it, so I can't argue with you.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
Ted
Simon
Levine.
Northwood plays Buffalo Bill in Clarice.
Okay, yeah. So they because he's in she has like I said, she's dealing with it. So they do a lot of flashback scenes with her in the
Yeah, yeah,
basement.
yeah.
And so they had to get somebody to be Buffalo Bill. But yeah, no, I mean it's a fascinating group of characters and the books are great and the you know, all the so far everything they put out has been decent. Entertaining at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a really good job. He was in the Fast and the Furious,
He
Ted
probably played
Levine.
like a cop or something. I think he isn't he the boss, the one that's trying to get um Paul to go spy on the family? Like isn't he the boss of I
Let's
can't remember.
see.
You know, the kid that died. Who's the one that died that was in the first couple ones of them?
Paul something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Paul.
he was Sergeant Tanner.
Yeah, so he's the boss telling him to go race cars so they can get
Yeah.
in there with him.
He
Um,
was in Flubber.
that's pretty funny. But yeah, if
He
you've
w-
ever seen Monk, he's fantastic as the chief.
he was also Big Bob in The Hills Have Eyes 2006.
So yeah, that would make sense. That would be a perfect character for him. That's a creepy. I mean, if we want to go some deep dive in some movies and stuff, we should watch the original and then watch the remake because I think the remake is really good, and I
Yeah.
think it stands up to the original, not in a better or kind of thing, but as these
Yeah.
two entities are amazing, and here's what happens when you get a little bit of money, and here's what
Yeah.
happens when Wes Craven gets a hold of something, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'd be up for that. That
that would
I
be a fun
remember
little
the
deep
the
dive.
new the 2006 version like freaked me right out.
Yeah, no, it's got some, and the way that the guy directed it and stuff. I think isn't Aziz the guy that does that one?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he's got an eye for those movies that really it's unsettling to begin with, and then he just knows what he's doing. So
Yeah,
um,
but out of the bad guys, I have a hard time I can't hate Hannibal Lecter. I can't really hate Buffalo Bill. I
I
mean,
think
he's
it's
a
because we didn't get to know him well enough because we didn't get the backstory. In the book, he does a lot of terrible things to people,
yeah.
but in the
Um,
movie, he doesn't seem quite so much. But I understand what you're saying. But I
yeah,
think it's because we don't get to see him. If we were a shotgun in his head the whole time, I think we would despise him.
yeah, yeah. And then there's Chilton, which he's just a dirtbag.
Yeah, he's honestly the worst character.
Yeah,
The most unlikable character is this guy. And so,
yeah. And I
which I
hate his face.
yeah, everything about it. And that guy's a pretty famous character actor in a lot of TV shows and stuff. And all I can think about is this role when I see him because he did such a good job of being such a dumbass dickhead kind of guy, you know.
Yeah, just
But at the same
sure.
time, if you take a step back and you look at it and you can see how lonely and sad and unappreciated he feels, and you can see that this is his way of trying to become something or be bigger than he is, you know, like he's trying to get her attention and to get her acceptance, but also he wants all of the on the professional side, he wants all the doctors and the hospitals and whatever, you know, the
Yeah,
foundations or however you want to word it to see him as a master
yeah,
psychologist or whatever. Then you find out in the book he's not even a doctor or whatever.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
he's totally the I abuse psychiatric patients
oh,
um,
100%. He's
just because
abusing
I can.
everything. Well,
Just because I can.
out of spite though, Hannibal recognizes all his weaknesses immediately, takes advantage of them, makes a fool of him, and then Chilton responds as a child would, and
Yeah,
uh, and just makes it worse. But every choice that Chilton makes is the wrong choice. So
yep.
he's a person that you just think, what would Chilton do? Do the opposite. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
but it goes back to just how great the book is because all the characters are so well thought out and well rounded and believable.
Hmm.
I mean, when you talk to the victims' families, when she's interviewing people or their friends and stuff, and you just get little snippets. But I mean, I know every one of these people somehow, some way. I've met them, I've interacted with
Yeah.
them. They
The
all of them felt like real people.
yeah, Frederica's father in the book was heartbreaking
Yeah,
because he's like, "Oh, her room is the same, and I would know if my daughter had a man or whatever it was he said." Like you could tell he was still like hurting from her death, and she wasn't a child; she was an
yeah,
adult, but still, you know,
yeah. It was like the light had been turned off in him,
hmm
and that was even more heartbreaking. Is that he's talking about just got married to that lady who
yeah,
didn't know. So he got married after the fact, trying to probably fill that void of just having somebody in his life to care for. But I
yeah,
don't think he's going to be able to because he can't get past what happened to his daughter,
yeah,
which I
yeah,
can't. I mean, how do you get past that? I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
that to me seems terrifying.
yeah. So
Um,
yeah, one of the
so,
best books I've read this year.
and
Um,
definitely, I never thought of it that way, but when I first started getting into like books of horror and stuff, people would always mention Silence of the Lambs as a horror novel, which I think might have led me to that philosophy of everything is horror. But rereading it and watching the movie and stuff, it's all pretty, horrific. So,
yeah,
and done in such a great way, such a
yeah,
fun, um, it's almost, and maybe we call it realistic horror because it had that vibe to it. It felt like it could be going for real. It doesn't have no elements of um, absurdity or disbelief in
right.
reading this. Everything you could see happening, which
Yeah,
is that much more terrifying that
yeah,
there's people like that
absolutely.
out there and doing all that stuff. So,
And for this book movie duo, I honestly couldn't say read the book first and then watch the movie because they're so close. Um,
but also unique in a little bit. So
yeah,
whichever way you go, you're gonna know the story
yep,
beginning to end, but you're gonna see a few little plot points that are different, and then you can decide what you like better. What's amazing is that I think they're equal.
yeah,
It's hard to say one's better than the other. They really did a good job. I'm trying to think. There's one thing I didn't like. I think we might have talked about it already, and I think it might be the fact that in the book he knows the guy, the killer, and he's just
yeah,
and it just shows though it shows the the mind frame of Hannibal, that he's basically a child as well, that he's just playing games and entertaining himself
Yeah.
with his a superiority complex, really, where he knows he's better than everybody and he's just going to keep playing around and then
Yeah.
reveal it if he wants to, but probably not. You never know. Um, we know that for a fact. In the movie, you feel like he knows something, but you at no point do you feel like he actually knows the guy's exact name and all that information. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I think it's cool either way. So
Mhm.
this was a good
Yes.
one. I mean, we tried to read something before this. Was this the one we pivoted? We tried to
Yeah,
read Dean Koontz.
yeah, it was a Dean Koontz, and I forget what the name of it. Midnight,
Yeah, Midnight Run
Midnight, yeah,
or
something.
or
I just could
I don't
not get
know.
into it.
Yeah, Cookie Cutter. I think
Yeah,
that's what it was called, Cookie Cutter. Yeah, I mean, it was like it was fine. I mean, I was reading it, but I was like, I was already annoyed with like five of the decisions in the first like
yeah,
50 pages. So I was like, well, this isn't going to get any better if we keep reading it. So, but we tried. I think we both hit a fourth of it, maybe a
yeah,
fourth of the way. And it's a long book too, so it's not like we gave up after like
yeah.
one
I think I
chapter.
was like 80 pages in, and I was just
So
like,
80 to 100, we
yeah,
tried. I think the point was is that we didn't want to continue wasting the reading time. I'm sure at the end we might have been like, oh, this was a fine book, and we could have had a good discussion about it, but we would not have had a discussion or enjoyed it anywhere near what we did in Silence of the Lambs. So I'm
yeah,
happy that we pivoted. So
yeah, me too.
and that just goes to show you it didn't hit with us at the time, but go back to it. You're going to have those things when you're reading
Mhm.
books. So put it on the shelf and go back to it later. I mean, I'm never going back to that Dean Koontz book, but you, as a reader, might go back to whatever it is that you're struggling with.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I'll give that book a second chance.
No, because if we're going to do Dean Koontz, we need to do maybe Watchers or Phantoms. It's the only one I've ever read is Phantoms, and it was good, so I wouldn't mind doing that one again.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't read that one. I have read Watchers.
And I've heard
That was
everybody says Watchers
yeah,
is like a top five Koontz novel.
yeah.
Um, I wouldn't mind reading the Odd Thomas stuff because I like the movie. Um, but again, I'm just not that interested in diving into Koontz. Maybe we'll do that one year.
Yeah, or even the Frankenstein
Oh yeah,
series.
yeah, that would be fun.
He did
Yeah,
the Frankenstein books.
yeah, that would be
Um,
fun. I love it when people do stuff like that. So I am
yeah,
definitely interested in something like that. But I'm happy that we pivoted because I actually enjoyed both aspects. And it was cool that you were in town while we
yeah,
were doing it so that we could actually watch the movie
yep,
and with a full house. I mean, we had
yep,
5, 6 people there watching it and getting kind of feedback and introducing it to more than one person for the first time. That was kind of
yep.
fun too.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
great night. And then follow up with Hannibal. That was fun too.
yeah, Hannibal's fine. It's fine. Like I said, I just don't like her. So
Yeah,
everything is amplified, but also it's funny to watch it as Ridley Scott directed it. I mean, you're like, well, this isn't like a traditional Ridley Scott movie. It's more like paint by numbers Ridley Scott. And so
yeah.
it's like, why did you bring him in here to do this? Because there's nothing going on here that needs Ridley Scott. So, but I get it because all the big directors usually do that once or twice in their career. Um, I guess no, even Spielberg because he did Ready Player One. So everybody gets to do one or two of the big books at the time. Make
I
an
just picked that
adaptation.
up not too long ago. Ready Player One.
Good book, great movie. I mean, the movie, I understand why people didn't love the movie, but I enjoyed it. So, um, I don't
Yeah, I
know. It's
got it.
another one of those.
Yeah, I got it at a thrift shop. I think it was like $1 or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good one. A family favorite. Everybody in the household's read it. So, um, oh, and I turn my head and there's Midnight just sitting there. There's the ding. It was called Midnight. That's it.
Staring at you.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I thought you were gonna pick me back up and read me. You lied.
I'm so lonely.
Yeah. I'm about to bury him under a bunch of other nonsense. So I don't.
Send it with the dice.
Yeah, right. The cursed dice and the cursed book, they can all go straight to hell. So,
Yeah. All right.
um,
Well, if you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs or you haven't read it, I highly suggest both of them. Um,
Yeah, and
So,
really, we didn't even discuss anything about it. We just kind of rambled about the characters and stuff because it's just such a fun everything. We just
yeah.
kind of mind vomited everything out. But yeah, it's definitely one everybody should read if they have it.
All right. Well, we will see you on the next episode and stay tuned.
Take it easy.